Jacob, give us your quarterback sleeper for the 2023 season.
I don't think it's any surprise, and a lot of people have this same guy as a sleeper, and people have been talking about him ever since he was drafted as a potential sleeper, and that is Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I will say, just if you're going to see me rock a third NFL hat, it's going to be a Colts one because I'm all in on Anthony Richardson. I do want to give some context, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain for our connection to Anthony Richardson, right? I'm not going to talk about it too much, but let's just say a few years ago, Gabe and I decided to play in a Devy League, which for people who don't know what a Devy League, it's Devy short for Developmental League. It's a dynasty league where you actually draft college players. Gabe and I, look, we love fantasy football. We're the biggest fantasy football nuts that we know. But even this Devy League, we're a little bit in over our heads. We were like, what is going on? We have no idea what's going on. But we figured it out, right? We figured it out. And for our first Devy draft, Gabe, you drafted Anthony Richardson.
I did.
And we were mocked for it.
We got so much hate for it.
These experts in our league who had much more experience playing Devy leagues than us, they laughed at us. They made fun of us for taking Anthony Richardson. And we had the 4th pick too. So, and we took him. Now, how does it look? It looks amazing for us.
And for context, how many of those players were reaching out to us the last offseason before we ended up leaving the league, which we left the league in a very good fashion, by the way. We left a great team on the table. But how many of those guys were trying to then acquire?
Our team was great, actually.
1 year later. Our team was great. I don't know why we left the league. It was a lot cheaper than those down leagues you get me to play in.
We had Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, Deebo Samuel. We had, didn't we have Justin Herbert?
We had a good mix of win now players and then like developmental players.
Yeah,
like
we had a sick squad. But anyways, we play in too many leagues, or I play in too many leagues, and the Devy League, it was just a little too much for me, to be honest. So anyways, giving that context, I feel a connection. Like, I feel like we've been like fans of Anthony Richardson ever since then, because of that league, I followed, like, I checked in on college. I didn't watch college games, not going to lie, but I checked in on like college football a lot more during this time. And I would just check the stats and everything from Anthony Richardson and all that. So then obviously leading up to the draft, all of a sudden he's considered like a top 3 or 4 quarterback prospect. And now what did he go? 4th overall to the Colts?
That's correct.
4th overall to the Colts. And now all these fantasy analysts, a lot of people, very optimistic about him. And look, so on Fantasy Pros for redraft, he's listed as QB 18. Now, some could say like, oh, that's pretty high for a rookie quarterback. But I would say, I think he has a lot more upside than some of these other guys going ahead of him. So just for me, the consensus ranking is a little low. So let's just say, for example, these are the guys ahead of him, like right ahead of him, right? Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins. Number 12, which we'll talk about in a little bit. 11 is Tua Tagovailoa. I'm taking him over all of those guys. Now when we get to 10, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, okay, now I'm starting. That's where I would draw the line right now. But I'm basically saying I have Anthony Richardson as a QB1, top 11, 12 quarterback. And I think he could definitely jump that. Like, I would not be surprised if he finishes as like a top 8 quarterback this year, at least. But the thing is, his ceiling is seriously overall QB1, in my opinion. That's his ceiling because of the rushing ability. And this is no secret. Everybody knows this. And to me, it's like, I think people like to be conservative with their rankings. and they don't, even if they love a guy, they don't want to put him too high because they think that people are gonna think that they're just being fanboys or they're being too optimistic or something, and they let their heart in it too much. And I'm like, no, that's good. Do all those things. Be a fanboy. Fight for your guys. Put your heart in it. That's what fantasy football is all about. So for me, I'm riding with Anthony Richardson. Look, I like his targets as well. There's an argument to be made that Jonathan Taylor is going to limit his rushing ability. But it's like, for me, it's like, okay, how are defenses going to stop them? Like when you're worrying about both of those guys rushing in general, and then especially in the red zone. I think Anthony Richardson is good for 8 rushing touchdowns. He has big targets. He has Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, guys who can be big red zone targets. They still got monster tight end as Mo Alley Cox. Is he still there? So like they have red zone targets. I could see something like, I don't know, 25 passing touchdowns and 8 rushing touchdowns with like 1,000 yards rushing, and who knows, 3,000 passing yards. I don't know, but I could definitely see something like that. But 2 other factors for me is, I've talked about this before. Shane Steichen is his coach. Who's Shane Steichen? He was offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. He helped develop Jalen Hurts, another rushing quarterback. People know this, obviously, but people are forgetting it. And that's huge. Also, I love Anthony Richardson's character and his drive. Right from the get-go, when he was doing the press conferences for the drafts, he's like, I want to be one of the greats. He's motivated. He truly believes that he can be one of the greats. And I'm right there with him. Also, one other thing to throw in, his profile picture looks amazing on the Sleeper app. He looks sick. So, Anthony Richardson, that's my sleeper.
And it's not a bad pick, man. The big thing here, right, is rushing yards. If Anthony Richardson can get you 1,000 rushing yards, which is what guys like Lamar Jackson were able to do, Justin Fields was able to do it in his rookie year. If he can do that, he is a bona fide top 15 quarterback, which right now puts him 3 spots out of where he's being drafted according to NFC. Jacob says he could be a top 10 or a number 1 quarterback, which would put him in that QB 1 to 12 range. That's totally within the realm of possibility. But Jacob, I'm here to tell you that even though we drafted Anthony Richardson together, our love and our bond has separated over time. I
Wow.
want him to do really well. I think he has the potential to do really well. I think he is so raw, though, as a quarterback in the NFL. And I get it. If you're a raw quarterback in the NFL, what's one thing you need to at least keep you alive? Your legs. And he's going to be able to do that. But a guy that literally has only thrown like 350 something balls in college compared to guys like CG Stroud and Bryce Young, who had thrown well over 700 passing attempts. It's just like, come on. It's getting a little scary for me. And I get it. Jonathan Taylor helps the workload. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Our team's going to stack the box. Shane Steichen, brilliant mind, brought up to relevance Jalen Hurts when everyone thought he was down and out. But it's very much 50-50 for me, Jacob. Very much 50-50. And like we were talking about with Jordan Love, take it with a grain of salt. You believe highly in him. I think he has the potential. But as of right now, he's currently, let's see here, he's going in the 12th round. Still a dart throw range, right? After you kind of fill up your lineup, everyone else is a dart throw at that point, at least to me sometimes. So, I think in home leagues, especially ones where Jacob Bartley plays in, he's going to go a little bit sooner than that. People are going to want to reach for him. They want the potential. They want that rushing upside. And I get it. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below about what you think of Anthony Richardson. And according to Mardell Johnson, AR is going to ball out too. He agrees with Mr. Bartley. Ooh, Jacob, that's a good t-shirt. You gotta like that, dude. It's got a nice ring to it. All right, it's got a nice ring.
I like it.
Mardell, we appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you. Make sure you leave your thoughts, comments down below. Again, what do you think about Anthony Richardson in the 2023 season? Fantasy relevant, or you're not